Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai hoki mai ki waiata mai I tēnei pō, ko Hope Ingoa, ko Eugene Thorne Ingoa. Hi everyone and welcome back to Waiata Mai this evening. I'm Hope and this is Eugene. And tonight, ko Pokere-Phillips ana tō tātou nei waiata o te pō, I puta mai tēnei waiata I te pakanga nunui o te ao tuatahi. Our waiata tonight is Pokere-Phillips ana, and this waiata came about in the First World War as a soldier's ditty, as a waiata aroha that they would sing to their loved ones back home. And the version that we know and love today was arranged by Praere Tomoana. And he waiata rongonui rawa tēnei, e nei wā, nā reira waiata mai e te whānau. The kupu will be on the screen so you can sing along. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed singing along to Tēnei Waiata Rore Karawa. Tēnā koutou katoa. We will see you again next time. Ka kite.
Oh, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora e te whānau. Poor Māori, hope your day and your night has been awesome. As for me, I don't know if you can tell, not really, but I'm still in the hohipera with my papa. I'm just realising my glasses are a bit thing with the position of the camera. Kia ora. Yes, so I'm in the hohipera and I'm in the family room, the whānau room. So people come in and out from time to time. Thank you all for asking how my papa is. He's doing really, really well. He's a warrior, is all I can say. He's still very fragile, but he's fighting to stay on this side, and he's telling his tupuna that he's not ready yet. So, yeah, just have people doing their mahi. So sorry if there's any interference. They got to carry on doing their mahi. But it's been quite a few days, and if I had time previously, I would have done a live. But I've been living with Dad 24/7. And it's been a wonderful experience, actually. I'm gonna play a clip from one of my favourite commentators. So I'll mute now and I'll share the clip. Whānau.
Is it already time for Davos again? Klaus Schwab and Bourla, which was a bit taller, CEO of Pfizer, have been meeting, talking about all the wonderful money they created during the last couple of years. I mean, vaccines! Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage towards truth with all of its complexity, with all of its apparent contradiction. That's why we need, as I've always said, a one world government headed up by Klaus Schwab and heads of big business like Bourla. What do you mean you'd prefer to run your own life? Shut up. What are you, a conspiracy theorist? As you know, Davos are meeting at the moment. You'll know that already if you're a subscriber and you watch our videos we do. If you're not a subscriber yet, subscribe right now. Remember to comment below and tell us what you think about this content. And by the way, I was being sarcastic when I was saying that we should have a one world government. That's the opposite of what we should have. A unified vision, local democracy, autonomy in our own individual lives, because we're all different and we all need freedom, and one man's freedom might not be another woman's freedom. So we've got to come up with new ideas. Should we get into this story where Bourla, wish I was a bit taller, CEO of Pfizer, wish I didn't tell so many lies, not saying that Pfizer tells so many lies, is talking to Klaus Schwab, who's just one white cat away from being in a movie with Daniel Craig. I wouldn't like to pry. Just so you know, Pfizer made nearly $26 billion in revenues in the first 3 months of the year, the bulk of it from its COVID-19 vaccine and a new pill to treat the virus. So whatever coronavirus was and wasn't, wherever it came from or didn't, however effective the treatments are or ineffective, one thing about which we can all be certain is it was bloody good for Pfizer.
How important is cooperation?
Cooperation in an ordinary everyday context means that if you and I are trying to change a tyre on a vehicle or bring up a child or rescue a cat from a tree, it will be easier if we cooperate. In this context, cooperation means, what if the governments and non-elected, non-democratic bodies that are funded by things like the Gates Foundation were able to operate along with the FDA, the regulatory agency that's meant to control or at least regulate the pharmaceutical industry, all collaborated together? Do you notice the difference between these two words? Cooperation, conspiracy.
I mean, not only you have to have cooperations with other businesses, but also with governments.
Cooperation from governments. Now, of course, a government is obviously supposed to have been elected to represent the people that elected it and whose tax contributions pay for it. Isn't there a problem if governments start cooperating with big business and non-elected bodies like the WEF or the WHO or the IMF or all of these little three-letter bloody organisations, none of whom I remember vote for, and some of whom I don't even know what it means? I'm sure at least one of them is run by Hulk Hogan.
I feel you have sometimes to do also with very little knowledge of government for such matters like complicated medicines.
What complicated medicines? What are you talking about? Oh.
What is the importance of cooperation? How do you approach it?
We saw it in all aspects. For example, AstraZeneca partnered with academia, Oxford, to make it happen.
Good. AstraZeneca partnered with Oxford, which then cooperated with Bill Gates, who then patented them vaccines. And then he cooperated in a really lovely way by making sure that those patents weren't available for free. So if you do believe that the vaccine should be freely available on the continent of Africa, we're going to cooperate with you by telling you to fuck off.
We partnered with a small biotech to make it happen.
They partnered with BioNTech, a smaller company that obviously developed vaccine technology. Who else are they cooperating with?
We partnered with FDA.
Oh, that's nice. That the regulatory body who receive 45% of their funding from the pharmaceutical companies that they are meant to regulate, cooperate with them. Don't use the word conspiracy now.
How much is the mRNA technology protected by patents or...
I think it's the Holy Grail. Without the protection, BioNTech would never have the money that they got from their investors to develop it.
Obviously, talking points around patents, I suppose, are to cover the controversial and seemingly hypocritical issue, which was, you'll be aware of, that if these vaccines are really good for you, and that's the reason that you want people to have them, because they're healing diseases and save lives, it's not about profit, okay, then can people on the continent of Africa have them? No. Why? Oh, they're so clumsy. They're clumsy over there. They'll muck about in those factories. We can't just give away our patents. It's not as simple as that. Okay. What about the troubled plant in Baltimore, which is not, of course, Pfizer, but did make a significant number of vaccines? In some cases, it seems possibly quite badly, batches them necessarily destroyed. Oh, that's okay. They're all right. Right. So just let me be straight. Are these vaccines about making money, or are they about keeping people healthy? And I know that, things could be two things simultaneously. I'm aware of that, but just help me to understand how this really works.
Without intellectual property, we would never have the money that we have, because everything we do it with other people's money. They're called shareholders. Yeah. They can tell us, put the money in new research or give it back to us for dividends.
Cool. So, just follow the science. Good old science. Science that won't be undertaken if it's not profitable, because they're beholden to shareholders. So do you see how the objectivity and empiricism of science is used to veil the reality of commerce and capitalism? You just heard that dude say it at the WEF. Well, we can't do more research if our shareholders don't want us to. And what do you think the shareholders are interested in when they buy those shares? Quick, we've got to get some effective vaccines. I don't care about the money. Just take the damn stuff. Should we do some research into diseases that are less profitable? Give me back my money, honey.
I think the bloodline...
Probably don't want to talk about bloodlines too much at Davos.
...of the innovative industry, it is this concept that a property cannot only be bricks and mortar, can also be intellectual property.
So that leads me exactly to the next question. What drives you, actually?
What could it be? What drives CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla? Well, he's just told you about shareholders. You've just heard $26 billion of profits. What drives Albert Bourla?
Is it scientific curiosity?
Is it scientific curiosity?
I like what I do.
This is PR for globalist technocracy. There's no investigative questioning, is there? There's no, do you think it's right that you've made this much money? Couldn't we do this more fairly? How do you feel about ordinary people? What do you think about all the controversy about it? Why do you think that people have felt pressured? Why do you think there's such a lack of trust? These are the kind of questions that you would have at a legitimate conference, rather than a puff piece that's designed to lubricate the corridors of power so mighty cocks of future interests can be eased into your reality.
How would you foresee the future? Should we be afraid of another virus? And what does it mean? How we create the necessary resilience personally, nationally, globally?
Personally, nationally, globally. Problem is, Klaus, is if you make the decisions globally, the choices you make nationally and personally are irrelevant.
On the first question, I don't think that the virus will disappear.
I fucking hope not.
We are not certain about it, but most scientists agree that the virus will be around forever.
Please God.
But the real question that everybody's asking is not this. It is, can we get our lives back? Can we live normal economic activity, normal social activity with the virus presence? And the answer is yes. I think we can.
When we tell you.
Absent a variant that we are not have not foreseen right now that can happen, but it's not the most likely scenario. I think we have the means right now, very effective vaccines.
We make them, by the way, available in shops now.
As the virus mutates, we have the ability to follow up and let's say update the vaccines.
So there'll still be vaccines. We make them available from Bourla.
Now, on the second question, we are afraid of a new, very different virus that would come, and we have now all these examples with the monkey pox.
Oh, the monkeypox, it's new, it's sensational, it gives you them bumps, it's monkeypox. We got a fucking vaccine for that, you better believe it.
I don't think we should be afraid, but I think we should be prepared.
I'm a little bit excited, because I make a fortune out of these things.
And that should, even the little fear that we have, that should ease it. And if we are prepared, I think science will win.
Well, science is winning, particularly science married to corporate commerce, not correctly regulated. In a sense, this is how materialism and rationalism has won the day, how we live now in a technocracy where all of our ideas, now personal autonomy and authority, is being gradually handed over to these centralized bodies and their data capturing, data analyzing ethos, where everything is reduced to measurable components. And to a degree, that is, of course, careful, knowing how much flour or how many eggs you might need in a cake. I'm a vegan, don't panic, I'm a vegan, is, of course, helpful. But when everything becomes about data and management, you know that there is one piece of data that matters above all else. And we've already told you what that number is. It's $26 billion.
Albert, when you look at, let's say, the process to get approval.
If you don't want to seem like Monty Burns or some kind of supervillain, probably best not to arrange your fingers into an Illuminati triangle at Davos. Excellent.
And usually it's a very FDA, as European authority, it's a very cumbersome process.
Oh, regulation is so cumbersome, making sure that the laboratory is clean and that we have to make things properly. Get it out of my way, it's so cumbersome. Oh, this bra is so cumbersome, get it off. Just let everything flop about and make a nice big profit.
Do you feel governments understood very fast your needs and reacted positively to your needs?
I don't fucking care about Albert Bourla's needs. Yeah, that's not how you should run a country. First and foremost, how's Albert Bourla? He's fucking minted. That's how he is. Right, good. Does anyone need any medicine? Because we're getting it off Albert Bourla.
Would you recommend for the future any change in public-private cooperation if we are confronted again with such a situation?
Should there be another pandemic, could you just tell us now exactly what we should do? All this cumbersome bloody regulation, strapping our boobies too tight. Couldn't we just move it aside and sell things to people whenever we want?
There are a lot of good examples, great examples, and there are examples that maybe we can improve for future situations.
So there you go. You're able to watch an agenda being established at a WF conference in real time. Klaus Schwab and CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, discussing what should happen in the event of future pandemics. That's simply being discussed right now. There might not be so many garish attendees this year, your Bill Gateses or heads of state, but this is a demonstration of how power operates, or at least non-official power. It's not concealed, like Edward Snowden told us when he came on the podcast Under the Skin. He says the worst conspiracies are not all the ones that do with crazy Barack out there, crazy stuff. It's things that you can see in places like you're being spied on, everything's run economically, regulation is set from centralized organizations. You can watch it happen. They're having conferences, they're on the bloody telly, there's nothing to worry about. And they don't call it conspiracy, they call it cooperation. Pfizer announced that its COVID-19 vaccine brought in $37 billion last year, making it easily the most lucrative medicine in any given year in history. That's not an insignificant fact when you're running a business, is it? When you've got the degree of lobbying power, that degree of commercial power, the degree of advertising power within media. I'm not suggesting anything about the vaccines. I'm tired of talking about that kind of stuff. Everyone should make their own decisions, in my humble opinion. And it's not a territory that I'm interested in straying on, certainly not on this platform. But $37 billion in profit is not an insignificant number. For a company that was until recently the least trusted company in the least trusted industrial sector in the US, COVID-19 has been a PR coup. Right from the start, Pfizer was clear that it just wanted to make a lot of money from COVID. The company claims that its vaccine costs under £5 per dose to produce. Others have suggested it could be much cheaper. It's been claimed that the company initially tried to pitch their medicine to the US government for $100 a dose. You know and I know what capitalism is. You and I know what the profit incentive is. I guess at this point, we're not even discussing radical revolutionary politics and the breakup of monopolies and how to change the world. We're simply talking about, is that too much profit to make during a period of international crisis? And if an international crisis is really good for the most powerful interests in the world, do you worry about international crises starting to be regarded as a positive thing? This is Nick Dearden, Director of Global Justice Now. Corporations like Pfizer should never have been put in charge of a global vaccination rollout because it was inevitable they would make life and death decisions based on what's in the short-term interests of their shareholders. We need to dismantle the monopolies that have handed these financialized beasts such power and instead invest in a new network of research institutes and medical factories around the world that can actually serve the public. Here's one contradiction that has to be addressed. I know a lot of you, because I read the comments, have varying opinions, shall we say, about lockdowns and vaccines. And I believe that you're entitled to your opinions. Here's an interesting fact, though. If you believe that vaccines are the best thing in the world and the necessary solution to the problem of the pandemic, and I know there are people that believe that as well, a significant number of people believe that, then shouldn't they have been made readily available in poorer countries, or does it only matter that richer countries have access to that medicine? There's a problem there, particularly when these ideas are couched in neoliberalist politics. They're all about fairness and sharing and kindness. And whenever there's any cynicism and doubt, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a nutter, you're against progress, follow the science. We've just heard the problem with following the science is that the science follows the money. That's the issue. Science is a subset of commerce. Truly objective science, as is being suggested here, independent networks focused on scientific endeavor. Of course we want that. You'd have to be an idiot to sort of deny the effectiveness of bloody geniuses in laboratories looking at cells and examining the behavior of viruses and medicines, although I would suggest there is some evidence that implies that that should be conducted with extreme caution, especially if you're near a wet market. There's all sorts of stuff comes out of those things. But science within extreme commercial and financial imperatives, we just accept as normal because none of us appreciate the water that we swim in. This is our reality. So we just, oh, it's just normal. Yeah, big business, shareholders. We don't do the research if it's not cost effective. We've grown up on that. But it's a problem when you present it as medically effective, socially responsible, personally necessary. There are many, many questions that are left unanswered and not questions that are going to be asked by Klaus Schwab at the bloody Davos WF puff piece factory that's primary intention, it seems to me, is to create a globalist technocracy, limit your individual power, your community, collective, and even national power. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share it around. Let's get these opinions out there. We need to know what you believe in, what you feel matters. You're the ones that directed us. I didn't even know Davos existed. I didn't know what went on in these places till you told us about it. So keep us informed. Keep giving us a thumbs up. Keep subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either one of these two crazy little guys. And please sign up to my mailing list. We do live Zoom calls. We do live events. We do all sorts of stuff that we can't discuss here. So sign up to that mailing list now. Stay free.
Kia ora anō. Hang on. I'm just going to stop some of these. Just get rid of these extras. But sorry about that. Oh my gosh, she's only a little Filipino cleaner. And she reminds me of my daughter. She's really busy, you know, and there was no one in here for an hour whilst I was here, and I was pottering around and made a couple of phone calls and before I settled in to do my live. And then she walks in not long after I started. Typical way. But anyway, it's just so great to be on here again. Not in the best of circumstances, and yeah, I've been in the hospital since I've been here. I came straight here from Kirikiriro and haven't budged. My darling took me out for about an hour today. Took me to get some oysters and fish, and we went down the beach to have a sneaky kai. and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm just checking my yes, just my glasses have got a glare on it. I'm trying hard not to show the glare off. It's a bit annoying actually. Yeah, probably need it to be up higher, but there's not too many things. Hang on, I see a box. Won't be a minute. It's a puzzle box. Okay, see if I can. Just trying to get rid of that glare. Nope, didn't work. Bummer. I might take my glasses off. That glare's horrible. Yes, so whānau. Thank you for tuning in. It is a bit late. There's still quite a few reviews online. And like I said, yeah, Dad had a busy weekend. He had a lot of whānau come from around the mutu actually to see him. I can't. He inspires me. He absolutely inspires me. You know, when I don't even know what to say. It's been touch and go with Dad. He's still really frail, but every day I see an improvement, and I can't speak highly enough, whānau, of the 24-hour care. What that does is it frees up the hospital, it frees up the nurses. We're in a wonderful ward. It's a great ward. And they look after you, and they just let me roam free if I want to go and get a pan, or if I need to go into the storage room or do anything. I'm basically the nurse's assistant, and really all they do is come in and do his vitals and give us medication, and I practically do the rest. And his room is spotless because there's nothing else to do but clean and leave the floors really for the cleaners. But I'm grateful for this time with my dad. It's a bit scary because the first night I was here, 4 people died in this ward. The 4 so family members were saying, and another one next to there passed away. And so, you know, there's been a lot, and a lot of whānau said that they've all got similar, you know, they say heart problems, lung problems, fluid in the heart, fluid on the heart, fluid on the lungs. So it's amazing what sort of information you get by sitting in the family room. We come down here, Terry has a coffee and watches the big screen, just to have a little time out from Dad's room. And you sit and chat to other family members. Very sad being in hospital. I think I would have made a great nurse, actually, if I chose another career. And they work hard, our nurses. They work really, really hard, and I wish them well for their pay rise. And I think as a priority, this government should give them. All our frontline responders deserve every single cent that they get. And short staff, so I've been told that staff have been coming into work mā because they're short staffed. And well, then they need to start re-employing the staff that were mandated out. Because if you can come in mā after a bout of the sea, then, you know, all of that is it's politics gone fucking crazy. Sorry. If you've got able people out there, and we've all had COVID, right? We've all had COVID, and you've got able people out there to support the shortage of staff. I don't know if you saw the other night, 156 staff from Christchurch Hospital, I think it was, 94% were away, were out sick. And now they're calling, people are saying, oh, it's just the flu. It's just the flu. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? Certainly the hospitals are chock-a-block, and I just feel that they do an amazing, the staff do an amazing job, right down to the cleaners. Without our cleaners, and they do an amazing job, and I thank everyone every day. I said I'm grateful to them for the care that they give my father. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, whānau, kia ora, Donna. Okay, what this? So Charlotte, Shirley, thank you for tuning in, Glennis. Now, what are you saying? Shirley, kia ora, Donna. Lovely to be on your live stream. My first. Thanks for sharing this time with us. Oh, thank you. Thank you, hon. Thank you for tuning in. Desiree, Carly, Mary, Charlotte. You fellas are just too awesome. Thank you, Chris, Amia, Patricia, Dean, Terry, Jenny, Donna Slade. Is your middle name Marie? Jenny, Charlotte. You fellas are awesome. Joanne, kia ora, Joanne. Yeah, Michelle, Caroline, Terry, Kay, Mins, kia ora, Mins, Shannon, Debbie, Desiree. Oh, you fellas are awesome. So yes, my father, the first time he was in, and he fought back again. He lost 11 kgs, and this time round he's lost 13 kgs. I'm said to Dad, what's your secret? Because I wish I could lose 24. Well, I did. I actually lost 30 kgs, but dare I say it, Fana, I've nearly put it all back on again. But you wouldn't want to lose it in that fashion. But anyway, Russell Brand, I mean, that's just what his latest video actually, and he talks about the globalist technos, right? And he also talks about how science follows the money, and the word cooperation. So this is the word. So it's really important to understand the language, whānau. So one of the words we have to look out for is, people think it's co-governance, and people are getting upset about co-governance, but actually the word to look out for is cooperation. And cooperation is cooperation with governments, regulators, the unelected officials, and corporations. That's the big word. Don't let co-governance be a smokescreen, whānau. Let cooperation be the real word that we're looking for, because we want to see who our government, and if you remember JA, when she was in the US, she called them partners, right? So partners and cooperation is the term that we need to be, that's a dog whistle. Remember in previous lives I talked about a dog whistling? Those two words are dog whistles, cooperation and our working with our partners like BlackRock. Our business partners like BlackRock. Our business partners like WEF. Anyway, you know what my husband said to me? He goes to me, when you talk on your lives and you laugh. And I went, yeah. He goes, well, the things you're saying is very serious. You shouldn't be laughing. And I guess in a way I'm a bit like Russell Brand. Not that I'm funny like him, but he uses humor. I sort of use laughter. And I said to him, I laugh because the topic's so serious. And I said, I laugh because sometimes it's that unbelievable. It's that outrageous. You have to laugh. I said to my husband, otherwise you want to cry. Like this, eh? So anyway, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? On my laughing? But that's just my husband giving me critical feedback. Love him to bits. What does Terry say? Oh, I saw a video of our dictator coming out of black. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that one as well. Hi, Donna. Love and prayers to you and your whānau. Thank you, Jay. That's awesome. Charlotte. Thank you, Hunt. Okay, any questions, whānau? Is there any questions you want to ask me? Kia ora, Donna. Yes, I think I showed that one, Shirley. Just checking to see if there's any questions. Oh, he talked so fast, to my surprise, I could understand what he was actually talking about. Yeah, Russell Brand has a habit of talking fast. And it goes to show how sharp his brain is, actually, how quick he is. But it's the humor as well. I thoroughly, because I watch his videos before I put it on my lives, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But I want to, because there's a lot of commentators that I can't put up, otherwise my page will get taken down. So and he's sort of conscious. He's there to put facts in front of us and for us to basically make up our own minds, right? And he just he pokes the bear in a way. I always say to people, be careful when you poke the bear, because the bear may respond. But I'm talking about myself actually. But I always say to people, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. Shannon said, aroha nui to you and the whānau. Big loves to Uncle. Oh, thank you, Shannon, and thank you for tuning in. What does Glennis say? Brian Tamaki thinks everything is crazy. Yeah. Well, this is the concern, eh? When Schwabs and his cronies talk about science will win. Well, science follows the money, unfortunately. Science is sponsored, unfortunately. And I think what Russell Brand has spoken about, that should companies make, Pfizer was not a reputable big pharma prior to the pandemic, and it's worked out for anybody. It's worked out well for them. So it's like government funds have shifted from our pockets, our taxpayers' pockets all around the world, into their pockets. And it's just watching in broad daylight. It's like you're literally watching the money, the ching money shift from our pockets into a private corporation. And there's no accountability. And I guess, $47 billion. $47 billion. Oh, the shareholders will be, and what they're doing is they're buying up all these smaller biotech companies. They're just, and so they're going to become this massive conglomerate. Too big to break up, too big to fail. Well, I don't know about that, but I was just thinking about one of the senators. What was her name? Elizabeth, for the Greens, Elizabeth Warren. About some of these big technocrats and how they're too big to fail. All these big financial institutes are too big to fail. Well, no, they're not too big to fail. Because if we think they're too big to fail, when we think that we can't break them up, then we're in shit streak. Then we're in shit streak. But anyway, what does Charlotte say? I would like to know what we can do to ensure these mandates are fully removed, or how to get people in government who are brave enough and humble enough to admit that this is a farce and a return our mana by removing all restrictions and mandates. Well, I think you answered your own question, Charlotte. Mandates were made in parliaments. Laws and regulations were made in parliament. The only way you can get rid of them and change them is in parliament. So you've obviously been watching. If you haven't, go and follow Sue. Her Facebook page is Sue Gray Tauranga, or the Outdoors and Freedom Party Facebook page, or their website. And you've got myself as the co-leader. You've got a bio of me on there as well. Goes on, it just tells you a little bit about my interest and, the health system, how I think we have to recalibrate our whole health. I mean, they're transforming and restructuring the health system now, and we've seen that report that come out about Pharmac, and it's a disgusting report. So minority people were not getting access to medication. Look, shit, we didn't need a report to tell you that, eh, whānau? Māori could have told you that a long time ago, but our calls fall on deaf ears. Pacifica could have told you that. The disabled could have told you that. You don't freaking need to spend millions of dollars on a report when you can just go to those communities. And what that shows is that they don't trust anything unless they do their own research. But how about just going to the communities and asking the communities what they want? Hey, so the report is quite damning on Pharmac. Here's the thing: we need to look at alternative rongoa. We need to be able to get access rather than regulate. Because you remember, natural rongoa is in competition with big Pharmac. You look at hemp and you look at marijuana, for example. There's a lot of things like, I just read up about hemp seed and how it's good for your tinana, good for your internals, can fight inflammation, is good for your heart. Because I'm looking at all this rongoa for my papa to help him with his heart, magnesium, all those types of rongoa, right? Which is good for your heart and your body. Well, that one source of truth isn't telling you the truth, because vitamin C, intravenous vitamin C, there's thousands of reports on and about vitamin C. Dr. Pauline, Pauline, who created the protocols around vitamin C, he wrote over 2,000 papers on vitamin C. He won a Nobel Prize on vitamin C. And I said to the doctors, why are you not using vitamin protocols when it's the most researched medicine in the world? So all the good medicines are ignored, because big pharma can't afford to have them, because it's not going to make money out of them. But this is so the question that Charlotte had asked is that we need politicians in there that are fearless, that have the courage and the kahunas to go down there and challenge the status quo. So that's why, whānau, we have to work really, really hard to get Sue Gray in, because Sue Gray is not going to do a lot as one person, but what she'll do is show the rest of the country that there's change in the wind. There's change in the wind. And what she can do, because she's a qualified lawyer and she's a scientist, let's not forget, she is a scientist. She was a scientist before she was a lawyer. And the other thing, whānau, he tino a tāhua, te āhua o te rangatira. She has a beautiful soul, a beautiful heart. And she cares about the people and the environment, and she knows how to ask questions. Why? Because she's a lawyer. That's what lawyers do. That's their main job, identifying the issue and then asking the right questions. So the answer is, we need to tautoko her. if you've got any whānau in Tauranga, please get them along to her seminars. So this is what's been happening in Tauranga. National Labour and ACT have been cutting out all these small parties and only having these public meetings, done by radio stations and the media, mainstream media, dare I say, and all the smaller parties have been kept out of it. Well, here's the thing. They've been creating their own public meetings and they've had hundreds of people turn up. So, you can feel it in the air, whānau, that something's shifting. The people are shifting, and those of us that were out there in the front that had the kahunas, I guess, crazy. My husband thought we were all a bit crazy that, we were saying and doing things, a couple of years ago. And we were swimming against the tide. Actually, a lot of the leaders that are in the front line now, we're running against the tide. At least 2 years ago. So we need to get behind Sue, and that's why I played a video of Brian Tamaki facilitating this hui, right, and had all the smaller parties. National ACT and Labour were invited, and and they get up. I don't know who they think they're talking to, but they get up and talk about democracy, for F's sake. And they stop the smaller parties from participating in that process. And, that's why they need to be moved on, these career politicians. Okay, Jay, I'm just going to put your question up because I can't read it because I've got my glasses off. Sue Gray's one on the vaccine mandates as unlawful. Of course they will do this because Sue Gray and Calvin Out just handed the government exactly what they wanted. Let me break it down for you. 1. Gray challenged the Bill of Rights 1990 when in fact the challenge should have been based on the Bill of Rights 1689. By using 1990, Gray just set precedent for a law that actually ultimately undermines New Zealand's sovereignty and New Zealanders' individual rights. She and Alp either knows this or they can't read the rest of it. Well, here's the thing, Jay. I can't read the rest of what you've got there. Hang on, I'll try and see if I can pull it up. Yeah, see if I can pull it up again. No, I can't read the rest of it. Here's the thing. The laws, I've done a law degree, she's done a law degree, right? So the laws that are made in New Zealand by Parliament are the laws that we are governed by. And the New Zealand Bill of Rights has been usurped. Now, when you talk about, now I don't know if you're talking about, now I'm just going back to your question, 1689. So what you're doing is you're talking about common law. Have you considered in common law that when Helen Clark, when she was Prime Minister, she severed our connection to England, which is where the common law comes from, right? She severed that when she severed the Privy Council, the House of Lords Privy Council, and she created New Zealand's Supreme Court. So that when you go into common law, everything has a whakapapa. Well, that whakapapa to those original documents like the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights. Our direct line to those common law doctrines was severed when our access to the House of Lords and our access to the Privy Council was severed. So now we only have our own laws. The question is, was that done deliberately, knowing that? So I don't know if you've considered that, Jay. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, come back with another comment if you've had that sort of conversation. I want to know, when you talk about common law rights, where do we, as our own sovereign country, get those common law rights from? Are you saying that those common law rights still exist because of the Commonwealth, because we're still part of the Commonwealth, because that's the other potential way that we can link in through common law, is through the Commonwealth? But a direct line, whakapapa, direct line, has been severed because Helen Clark and the then fifth Labour government severed those common law ties. The only way I can see us having a link to those common law ties is through the Commonwealth, which is actually a lot weaker because we're coming around rather than having the direct long line. But I'd be keen for you to have, this is a great conversation to have. Great conversation. Okay, Mary says can't open the document. But hey, if Jay, if you've got any other information, flick it to me on private message and I'll go through if you've got some links there to see. I want to understand where you get your whakaaro from, because everything has a whakapapa. Everything has a whakapapa, and then that whakapapa can be restricted or severed. And as far as I understand, it's been severed. However, the long way around could be through the Commonwealth, because we're still part of the Commonwealth. But anyway, whānau. But thank you. That was an excellent question and an excellent way of having a conversation too, by putting comments up. What does Joanne say? Here in Timaru, as South Pacific, Sarah, they are going to be producing COVID jabs for New Zealand. How many do they think people need? They don't seem to be going. Yeah. Hey, what about boosting your vitamin C, for goodness sake? Hey, because there's a lot of sick staff walking around and, a lot of visitors coming in and out. I didn't want to give it to my papa this weekend because I do want to consult with his doctors first, because Dad is fragile. His diabetes is up and down. What I love about Dad is he's a fighter. I can see where I get it from. An absolute warrior. I'm just so proud of him. But every time he has a bout like this, it takes a lot out of him, and he is getting tired, and all I can do is pray every day and appreciate him every day and be grateful for this moment that I'm having with him as well. And it's not easy on my mum. Mum and my sister come up today, and my sister took her out shopping, which was awesome, because when he's when he's low and Mum's there, it's really hard for her. I have to be strong, whānau. I did all my crying and kitty ro. I do have little moments. That's why I like to keep myself busy. Do have little moments when he's asleep, and I sit there and watch him and have my moments, and because I don't want him to wake up to me crying, because me, whānau, I'm a tangiwito, I've got a big heart, but I can't show Dad that side because it's not good for them. They have to see you strong. You have to be strong. I just want to share this because there's a lot of whānau going through similar to what I'm going through, and I swear by the 24-hour care. It helps them to get better faster. I'm there for every meal, and he eats every meal. So even though he's lost 13 kg in the last week or two, couple of weeks, he's put on a kg in 4 days. So that's amazing. He's a miracle walking, my papa. Not everyone could survive what he's surviving. You got to remember, he's survived myocarditis, pericarditis, pleurisy, stroke. Talking about it makes me want to cry, but that's a warrior in my eyes. That's a warrior. He's been amazing. And I look at him and, he sort of makes, you get rid of all the small stuff, the little stuff that doesn't really matter. Here he is fighting for his life, and the small stuff that used to bother me doesn't anymore. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What does Jay say? Hang on, I'll just go to Mary. Can't open link. And Jay says, thank you. I'll look into that more. Appreciate your feedback, and I will come back. Yeah, do that, Jay, because from a legal, constitutional a perspective, human rights, civil rights perspective, everything has a whakapapa. It just doesn't come from thin air. And you also need to be careful. Much love to the whānau, thank you. You also need to be careful. Imperial law is old British law. So when New Zealand was first colonised, they brought over, after the treaty was signed, or Te Tiriti was signed, they brought over the imperial laws, which meant they were the laws from England that they planted here in Aotearoa until New Zealand was mature enough, because it was a pepe country, right? And until New Zealand was able to create their own laws and become a sovereign in their own right. So it is fascinating stuff, and please, Jay, do. And we just got to be careful of our tone, as well, because Sue, like I say, I have the privilege to work with her, work beside her, work behind her, and support her. And she's got a beautiful ahua, and common law is also known as judge-made law. So you'll have statutes that Parliament create, but it's the judges that interpret those statutes, right? And once you start appealing the statutes, like you got district court, high court, court of appeal, Supreme Court. Our Supreme Court used to be the House of Lords, used to be the Privy Council, and that was taken away from us. And when that was taken away from us, that common law from England was severed as well. So that's the hierarchy of our courts. You might win a case in the district court, it would be appealed to the High Court. You could lose that one and then appeal to the Court of Appeal, and you win or lose. But the final court, that's the most important court, is the Supreme Court. Usually at the court appeal phase, the government should not interfere in a court process. What happened with the Ngāti Apa case, the foreshore that brought around the foreshore and seabed case that brought forward the Māori Party, was that Helen Clark interfered with the judicial process. Now you call them separation of powers, where the judiciary can't interfere with Parliament and where Parliament can't interfere with the judiciary. And we've been seeing a bit of the breaching of those separation of powers. Now, those separations of powers are so important, whānau, because that's the foundation. Those are the foundation pillars of our democracy. So you have Parliament, you have the judiciary, and you have the executive, which is the caucus. The executive is caucus when they go into caucus. So you'll have all the ministers that hold portfolios, which are ministries. Like the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta will hold, she holds the Foreign Affairs portfolio, the local government portfolio, and then she's associate, I think, to other ministries. So all the ministers that hold a portfolio, which have a ministry underneath them, is called the executive, and they are caucus. So when they go into caucus, only the executive ministers go into caucus with the prime minister, whoever the prime minister is. The rest of their peeps stay out. They're out. It's only those ministers. So they call it the three arms, which is Parliament, which is sovereign, which is the 120 members of Parliament, and then the executive, which is the government that's in power, and all those ministers, the prime minister and her caucus, which you call the executive, and the judiciary, which is the judges, right? And that's the three branches, or the three estates as they're known. And then you have a fourth estate, which is supposed to be the media. And now, and then they call it the fifth estate, which is social media, which is taking over the fourth estate, which is the mainstream media, because they are no longer mainstream. They are sponsored like everything else. Just to finish off, whānau, and thank you again for tuning in. I just wanted to talk about data, and data being the new gold, and data is what Russell had brought up. The capturing of data, and then the selling on of that data. It literally is the new gold, because of the way that the world wants to move, or the elite want us to move in, and that's about digital ID, digital dataing of everything, and digital currency. And once that comes in, dare I say it, but we're fucked. Sorry, whānau. Oh my gosh. Excuse me for my kennel words. But we have to be aware of it. We have to be aware. We have to see what's going on, because if we don't see what's going on, it's going to slap us to kingdom come, actually. And we've already seen it at work in China. What's happening there? They run in a social credit system. That's how they control the masses of their society. The billions of people that live in China, that's how they control them. They control them through social credit. So far, no. Kia ora, Pateria. Oh, awesome to have you on, Patty, Annie, Shirley, awesome. Now, what have you put up, Ricky? I swear by the white pine tree tea helps several illness. Yeah, kia tūpato with not all pine trees are made of the same. So, thank you for putting that up, whānau. So go to Ricky's comments, whānau, and he's got homemade hydrochloroquine made by the skins of 3 lemons, 3 grapefruit, and 3 liters of filtered water, simmered for 6 hours, strained, works well for the dreaded C. I have a compromised immune system due to autoimmune disease. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, we've done that as well. We've done all of that, and so all of that stuff's really good for you. Okay, whānau, I'm feeling a bit ngingi, feeling a little bit tired, and I like to get a good night's sleep because Dad wakes up during the night. And if I'm too tired, I actually don't hear him. And I like to be up with him, because he said his mind wants to do a lot of things, but his body just can't. His body just can't. And so I always get a bit afraid. You know how when they're fragile like that, and one fall, and gosh. But he likes to get up during the night and doesn't want to wake me. You know, he's a good papa, but I want him to wake me. And last night I must have been a bit tired, because I didn't hear him wake up at 1:30 in the morning. So I can't be too tired when I when I go to sleep, so I can have one eye open and one ear open for him. He does all right, but you just don't know. He's a bit ngingy. He's a bit tired, and it's only the night lights that are on. It's not a full light like this, but yeah. Thank you. Okay, whānau. Oh, kia ora, Amanda. Good to see you on, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Shirley. And thank you, Ricky, for sharing your rongoa to look after us. And if there's any other rongoa whānau, please put it up. Love yous all heaps. Love yous all heaps. And po Mārie ka kite anō. I'm not too sure when's the next time, but when if I've got free time, I will come on because I do miss you all. So have an awesome, awesome night, whānau. Po Mārie ka kite anō. Kia ora ra.